Welcome to Brag Radio, which is all about being rich and generous. Every week, your host Kandas and best-selling author Larry Goins will show you how to be rich and generous by investing in real estate. Broadcasting around the world on the Brag Radio Network from the flagship station WBT in beautiful uptown Charlotte, here are your hosts, the rock stars of real estate, Larry and Kandas.
Hola, ¿qué pasa? How are you?
Are you on the right show?
Maybe. I don't know. You messed me up there.
I bet I did.
So how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. I hope you're feeling better this Saturday. I mean, you were like dragging last Saturday. What's up with that?
I was exhausted.
Are you feeling better now?
A little bit.
Good. I'm so glad. I'm glad you're going to be so lively this show because you were just dragging last week. Because I know you'd been away from home for a whole week, right? And you had to get up at like, what, 2:30 that morning?
I don't want to relive it.
Okay, I hear you. You're done with it, aren't you?
Yeah, so long ago, don't even put it in your mind.
Yeah, I can't remember what day I did what.
Good for you. Good for you. So last week we talked about creating your vision.
We did.
Because your business or your career, your business or whatever should be based around your personal vision, right?
Right. What's happening to you?
Trying to get lively a little bit.
All right.
So,
I hear you. Woohoo.
So Chad's doing jumping jacks while sitting down.
Y'all are so weird.
So anyway, we were talking about your personal vision last week. If you didn't get a chance to hear it, it's episode 100, right? It was our 100th show.
That's right.
Right? So now this is 101.
100.
101, right? So we want to talk this week about the power of masterminding.
The power of masterminding.
The power.
Now, it's not like mining for gems.
Minding.
But you just might find a gold nugget or two. Do you like that?
Hey, that's good. Good for you. You are a little more lively this week. I'm excited for you. That's
excited for you. Good. I'm excited for you. This is going to be easier this week because I'm not pulling you along.
Right, and you did most of the talking last week.
I don't know why you did that either.
Yeah, well, I was just trying to help you out.
Setting me up to fail.
No, I wasn't. You did a fine job. So, I want to talk a little bit about masterminds. You know, a lot of people, you know, they have an interest in something, whether it's real estate or business or whatever, and they'll buy a book. Maybe they'll subscribe to some podcast, you know, or shows, listen to shows like this, or listen to the replays as a podcast or whatever. And but the thing is, you know, you get to a level eventually, you know, you might even do coaching or mentoring or whatever, but you get to a level that you want to mastermind with other like-minded people, right?
Well, I think, that's part of it. You want to be around people that are about the same caliber. But I think too, you want to get to a point where you can give just as much as you get. You've grown, you've had some experiences, you have something that you can give to other people to keep them from doing maybe some of the same stuff that you did.
Right. And that's the power of a mastermind, because a mastermind, basically, if you're not really sure what a mastermind is, okay? A group of, you know, about a dozen people get together, right? And they take turns and they share what they're doing, their business, you know. They'll share some things, you know, like, here's what I'm doing in my business. Here's something that's really, really working well right now. And it's ideal if the mastermind is topic specific, like it's a mastermind group of real estate investors, or it's a mastermind group of people who are in the car business
or bank business, or where you guys can all kind of commonly share, where you've all got common kind of maybe not even interests, but yeah,
that's exactly right. And we actually are in several masterminds, and we have our own mastermind, right?
That's right.
And usually when a person gets to the mastermind level, they're already, like in real estate, they're already full-time. Like with ours, you're required to be a full-time investor.
That's right.
Right? So you can contribute and give back. Right? So you can help others to be able to, you know, you have something to share. Plus, you still want to learn because you realize you don't know everything.
Right.
Right? It's like Norman Schwarzkopf said. Do you remember him?
No.
Desert Storm. You remember?
Storm and Norman.
So glad you guys can relate to each other.
So
makes it so much easier on me.
He can say
I don't have to know all this old stuff.
Storm Norman said you can tell the caliber of person by how much they want to learn after they know it all, right? You get some people that like feel like they know it all, and they're like, you can't teach me anything. You can't tell me anything. I already know it all, right? So, but you can tell the caliber of a person by how much they want to learn after they know it all. In other words, the more successful you become, you should still want to learn, because you should realize, even as smart as I am, even as much as I know, and I'm not talking about me personally, I'm just talking about whoever, even as much as you know, you can still learn more. There's still other people out there that have done more, been where you haven't gone yet, or have ideas, because I don't have an exclusive on new ideas.
Right. That's right.
I don't have an exclusive on it. And whenever we go to a mastermind, or we host our own or whatever, I learn so much.
Oh,
I learn
yeah,
so
totally.
much. And we come back with so many ideas. The office hates it though, right?
Well, we're doing better with that though. We're doing better with not as much coming back with new ideas, but coming back with better ways to implement and better ways to, kind of get the most efficiency out of what we got.
Right. And that's true. You got to realize that you can't do everything. You can't do everything, right?
Preach it now.
Why are you looking at me like that? Because you've been preaching that to me.
I want that snippet. You just can't do everything.
But you know what?
I want that as a ringtone, Chad. Can you make that happen?
Done.
Thank you.
You can't do everything. So, but I do try sometimes, don't I?
All the time.
And I get good ideas.
All the time.
All my ideas are good, right?
They all have their own merit.
But that's a very PC way of putting that.
I learned from the best.
That's awesome. So, you really can't do everything, and you need to focus on, what is it? The one thing, right?
That's a good book, by the way, guys.
And what is the one thing?
For what? For me? Or for you?
No, tell them about the book. It's a good book.
I'm not done with it yet. I'm in it.
Right. Well, The One Thing is a book by Gary Keller, who started Keller Williams, and he talks about what is the one thing that's going to move the needle most in your business, right?
Make the most impact.
Make the most impact.
Give you the most direct line to results.
That's exactly right. Like, I'll give you an idea. I'll give you an example. I have been holding personally interviews when we're recruiting acquisition people or salespeople or a closing person or whatever in our business. I have been running the ads. I have been calling the people or taking the calls, and I have been holding the interviews. Well, in our latest mastermind, there was one of the guys there that he said, look, I never interview anybody unless somebody else that's not on the management team has interviewed them first and said they like them and they recommend them, right?
Right. And you gotta understand too, the thing about a mastermind is, we've heard that before. We've heard that before. That wasn't
Right.
the first time that idea came up. But when I heard it the first time, it didn't carry as much weight as it did this time because we weren't in this situation.
That's right.
So when we heard it this time, it was like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense now. But before, I didn't really think twice about it.
That's exactly right. And this is a guy in our mastermind that we've taught many things to as well. But when he reiterated that, it's like, wow, we should really start doing that.
That's right. Yeah,
We really should start doing that. So no matter where you are in your business, you should get involved. If you're not ready to be in a mastermind where you can give back and actually contribute, then start with coaching or mentoring. But if you're in a place where you can give back, where you're already doing real estate full time, we can help you. If you'd like to get in our mastermind group, we have a few seats available right now. Mm-hmm. You can call Kandas, right?
That's right. Same line as always, 877-LARRY-GO. You guys that call know we kind of talk about anything and everything. So masterminds is one of those things that we can kind of go into. Our coaching programs are another thing that we can go into. Basic, you could get the investor's kit. Just get started somewhere if real estate is what you're interested in. The investor's kit, I can send that out to your email, 877-LARRY-GO, or text BRAG, B-R-A-G, to 803-897-6063. Welcome back, Bragg Radio.
Leading the world to be rich and generous. We teach you how to invest in real estate, to become successful, and then we implore you to go out and be generous, to brag, be rich and generous.
Right.
Focusing on the generous part, right?
Right. That's right.
Good.
And generous means something different to everybody. It's not like there's a right generous and a wrong generous.
It could be being generous with your money. It could mean being generous with your time, right?
And what we found is, like, even within our mastermind groups that we attend and the one that we've got, a lot of people, get to the point where just cutting a check is not good enough.
Did you read what I just wrote down?
I can't see your paper.
Not just writing a check.
I did not see that.
Wow. Would
That's
you just
scary.
look at that?
That's scary when that happens.
Just look at it.
Oh, bless me. Bless my soul.
So there does come a point, and we even talked about that in our mastermind meeting just the other day, that there comes a time when you don't want to just write a check again. You need to get physically involved. You need to help others. Find something that you're passionate about. Right, Kandas?
That's right. For me as kids, we, Matt and I have two beautiful girls, and we love being around other kids. And one thing that we know that we want to do together is to give back to the kids in our community, in our local district, in our local community, when it comes to sports and when it comes to life and when it comes to being somebody that can be there for them, that can kind of help show them the way.
Right.
And you can't do that with a check. That takes time.
That's true. That's true. And it makes you feel much better when you know you're contributing and you're helping others, right?
Mm-hmm. When you see,
awesome.
and it sounds really weird, and if all you can do is write a check because of your time constraints, then that's fine. If all you can do is tithe, know that there's people that are able to give the time that you can't. There's nothing wrong with it. Don't feel bad about it. Just know that there's more to your life, and you'll get there.
Right, right. And being in a mastermind like we are, and we're in several and have our own, as I've mentioned before, but the thing about being in a mastermind with other people who are kind of at the same level that you are is you're able to see some of the things that they're doing for lifestyle, right?
That's right.
Because we all have a finite number of days here. I mean, just like you mentioned last week.
Finite.
That's the opposite of infinite, right? So we have a finite number of days here on this earth. And as you mentioned last week about, one of the exercises you went through was creating your eulogy. And what if you had 90 days to live? What would you do? Mm-hmm. You think about those things. And when you get to that level where money is not as important anymore, then you want to think about, what am I really passionate about? What do I really want to do? And that's one of the things that a mastermind can do, because we talk about real estate. We talk about, different things like automation. Here's some new marketing things that we're doing. And, here's some new automation that we're doing. Here's a new, app for this and an app for that or whatever. Here's a new pay structure or this or that. But one of the biggest things when you get to the mastermind level, it's doing life together. Mm-hmm. It's all, I don't mean this in a bad way or whatever. Shouldn't sound as a bad way, but it's almost like small group at church, right?
It's focus. It's a focus group.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a group of like-minded people, and you get to the point where it's not just about the money or just about growing the business. Yeah, we talk about business, but
we do
and help each other with business.
Yeah,
a lot of it
with challenges. I mean, because you're going to face challenges, no matter even if it's what was one of the guys' biggest challenges this time was he didn't know if he wanted to keep doing what he was doing.
Right.
He had built it and didn't know. He just didn't feel the same fire with it anymore. And he's very successful. The business stands on its own.
That's right.
He's not even in it every day. But his challenges, and most of us would be like, man, I wish I could get my business like that. Well, I mean, he'll sit there and tell you, be careful what you wish for. Because when the fire of what you're chasing is gone, or you catch what you were chasing, then what's next?
Right. And he was literally burnt out, right, on being involved in the business. And he said, hey, we do a couple of $1 million a year gross. And he nets a pretty good income. But he said, I need to hire a couple of salespeople and to sell more houses, which is what he does. He sells houses and, flips houses. And he said, if I can get a couple of salespeople in here, I could get my numbers up to $5 million a year and I'll net $1 million. He said, I don't need the million and it doesn't really excite me anymore.
And what'd you tell him?
So what we started talking about was, why don't you think about, right? Why don't you think about, because his passion now is not business. His passion is helping people. His passion is being a blessing to others.
But it has always been that.
Yeah, it has.
When you start asking yourself why, like, why did I start this in the first place? What was I setting out to accomplish? Why? And you go 5 layers deep in why, and you get to a more root cause of, like, the guy we were talking about last week, the dentist. His root was in connections with people, right? Being a dentist was his vehicle. So this guy, his root, his true why, was helping people.
Right.
He wants to be able to help and be a blessing to other people and be a positive change.
Help people in need and even help people who are starting businesses.
That's right.
Consult them with business. I mean, he doesn't charge them or anything. He just wants to help others, right?
Right. And so sometimes, though, along the way, you lose your why. You lose that root cause as to why you work so hard to build what you've got. And masterminds can help ground you again. They can help bring you back.
That's exactly right. And one of the things that I had shared with him in the group setting was, the $1 million doesn't get him fired up, but tie that $1 million to all of the good that he can do.
Tie it to the result.
Tie it to the result that he wants to get and say, man, if I had another $1 million a year, look at all these people I could help.
Right.
Earmark that money for this, for this,
in
for
advance.
this, for this. Exactly. And then it will push him to get back involved in that business and to be able to really want to help people. Does that make sense?
I mean, it does to me. It makes total sense to me. Just having a little bit of a different perspective, stepping back and having other people that can feed into your problem and give you different alternative solutions that you can't see because you're in it. He was so wrapped up in the burnout that he just forgot. And it's not a fault or anything like that. It's not like it's a mistake he made or anything. It just happens. But having people that know you, that love you, and that can say hard things to you, but out of love, is part of what a mastermind is as well.
That's so true. And I will tell you this, it takes 2 or 3 meetings for everyone to start to gel, right? To get
when
to
you
know
first
each
get
other.
started, yeah. When you first get started, it does.
To start to gel. But I can tell you this, I could tell before he left that meeting that when he was at the beginning, when he was burnt out about, I just don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to work in this business anymore. I don't want to build it. I don't want to add more salespeople. I don't want to do that at all. But then when he started tying the result to what his passion was, he got fired up again.
That's right. Because, I mean, it's what can I do with this money now? He's comfortable. He knows what his personal take home needs to be.
Right.
Everything else is lucrative at this point. So he's got this huge heart. He wants to do these great things. And now he has a drive to make more money or make the business make more money to fuel what his actual true passion is.
What his real passion is.
That's right.
That's exactly right. That's really, really good. There's so many, many advantages of a mastermind. And like I said, it's not just the business part, it's the personal part as well.
It's a vulnerable place. Like you get.
I mean, there was people in there crying.
It happens every time, and with all of them, it's just a place that, if you do it right, fosters an environment for people to be just honest and open.
To open themselves up.
Yeah, and know that anything that's said to them is not out of a criticism or something like that. It's out of love. It's because the people are trying to help them.
That's so true. That is so true.
So we can help you guys with this. We've, like Larry said a couple times, we've got a mastermind of our own. You can give me a call at 877-LARRY-GO. Shoot an email to me, info@bragradio.com. If this was a first show of ours that you've heard, we usually talk a lot more about real estate, but this stuff has just been on our minds lately, and we feel like we need to share some of this stuff with you guys. So 877-LARRY-GO. For the Investors Kit, text BRAG to 803-897-6063.
Welcome back to the show. It's segment 3 out of 4. We're 3/4 of the way there.
We're trying to coordinate.
Candace and Chad are coordinating.
We were, and I forgot that before we started coordinating, he had already given me the signal to come back on. There you go. There was a little bit of music for you people on talk radio. We know you don't get a lot.
That's my favorite song. My favorite fave song.
Is it of all time?
It is. It's my absolute favorite song.
You sent an email out to our internal staff asking for their top 10 favorite songs.
I did. You have no idea what that's about, do you?
You want to create a playlist for us, but I don't know why.
I want to create a playlist for us, and we're going to have where it blasts throughout the office.
Oh,
Everybody
really?
going to have their top 10. I asked everybody in the office, what are your top 10 songs that motivate you, that make you want to get up and jump around? Right?
That make you want to, yeah. So I did 10 songs, right?
Did you really?
I did 10. But then it's like I didn't catch the whole jump around part. So I've got 4 that are like jump around and 4 that are just like, and then 6 that are just like my favorite songs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, they got to be jump around songs.
Yeah.
Right? They got to be jump around songs.
Because like,
Could they actually be the song Jump Around?
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
Because like Sweet Child of Mine, it's not really going to make me jump around.
No, you can do them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish you could see
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, we need
Axl
to
Rose thing,
flip the camera around so Chad can see. It's about as good as his air triangle.
I know, right? We need another GoPro.
But I do have 4. I mean, I wrote down a bunch of songs. You can see my whole list here. See my list. I did the assignment. However, only 4 of them are like get up and move type songs. So I've got to pick some more.
Well, we're going to put a playlist together.
And
We're gonna
all
blast
10
it.
of Larry's songs were Van Halen.
I know, right? And the only person who's going to be jumping around is him.
9.5. Only 9.5 of them are Van Halen.
You know how much air guitar is going to happen in our office when those come on?
I know. I love it. That's exactly right. They're going to be
Bless him.
either Van Halen, Pink Floyd, ZZ Top, REO, or something like that. So anyway, let's get back to talking about masterminding, right?
Yes.
You're still reading your song list.
I'm just looking
So-
at the artist. Just looking at the artist.
That's funny. So, a couple of things I want to share about masterminding. One of the last masterminds we went to, we shared some ideas of some things we're doing. And even though there are people there that, have a successful business, they're crushing it in their own market, they're like, wow, that is great. That's a great idea. Like one of the guys came up to me and he said, he was just, we were talking and he was asking me some questions. He was buying some property in a resort area and, buying these condos, and it's going to be 16 months before the condos are built, right?
Yep.
So he's got to buy them now and pay for them, but it's going to be 16 months before they start bringing in income because they're what's called pre-construction. So he's like, how am I going to raise private money and finance these, right? How am I going to do that? How am I going to raise private money? How am I going to raise private money and finance these? Well, I actually gave him about 4 or 5 different answers, right?
See, that's why you can't stump Larry. That's just why you can't do it. What I have noticed, though, is sometimes some people in these atmospheres have the same ideas, right? He thinks a lot before, like, he speaks about an idea. So he'll be up walking around the room. All of us are sitting at a boardroom table. Up walking around the room. Somebody says something. He's like, I got it. Know what you need to do. This is going to be great.
I don't say I know what you need to do. I say, here's an idea.
I got
here's
it.
something we've done. Or here's something you can try.
What you could do is, And while the whole time he's thinking somebody else has said it. So he says it and they're like, that's an awesome idea, Larry. That's great.
It happened twice in the last 2 days.
It did happen twice in the last 2 days. Then though, you had the one like transformational idea and you said it and we were all like, man, that's awesome. You're like, yeah, nobody else said it first. So you do get to rag on each other a little bit in these.
I know, right? That was awesome, though. But some of the things I told him was he could, he was wanting to, because he'd already bought 4 or 5 of these condos and paid cash. So he's out of his own cash. He needs to raise some private money to do this. And that's one of the things we could teach you guys how to do. But he's going to raise private money. But he said, how can I structure this thing, so I don't have to pay back the private money with payments or whatever.
Right.
So I said, well, how many of these do you want to buy? He said, well, I'd like to own 10 of them. He said they're $100,000 a piece, but if I buy 10 of them at once, I can get them for 80. So I said, well, number one, why don't you buy 10 of them for 100? And now this is in Mexico, okay? This is not in the U.S. So he can buy 10 of them and have the builder give him one of them, right?
Yeah.
And he'll borrow the money on 10, have the builder give him one, right? He could also buy 20 of them and tell the private money lender, hey, I'm going to partner with you. Instead of lending the money, I'm going to partner with you. We're going to buy 20 of them. At the end of 5 years, we're going to sell 5 or 10 of them, right? I'll pay you off. I'll pay you all your money. You get half the profit.
Right.
And then he'll have 10 of them free and clear.
That's right.
Right. And
that's probably my favorite suggestion of that thing. That's the one I would want to do.
There's many, many, many different ways. And that was just a couple of the ways. But he's got his own wholesaling business.
He does.
Real estate day trading business.
Well, him and a partner do, yeah.
He doesn't even have an office.
Nope.
Does he?
He doesn't like the enterprise style.
No, he wants to work from home. He closes 150 deals a year, right? Yep. And he has no employees. He has people, but they're not in his office.
That's right.
They're not in the office. He has virtual assistants. He has virtual salespeople, and the leads come into the website. They get sent to a lead manager. Like the motivated seller leads come in, sent to a lead manager. Lead manager sets the appointment, and then they set an appointment to go out and see the house and make an offer on it. Right.
Right.
So, and then they sell them on their website. So he doesn't even have a whole business, right? Oh, I shouldn't say a whole business, but he doesn't have a business in an office. So it's just really cool to see the different types of business and different types of models that people have. There was one guy at our latest mastermind meeting where he actually does multifamily.
That's right.
And he was telling us about a deal he bought 5 years ago, right? He paid $3.4 million for it. He borrowed $1.4 million, right, from private money. And he had a management company come in and they turned the property around. They leased it up. They raised the rents over 5 years. And he just sold that property for $8.8 million.
Wouldn't even really mean he thought about selling it. And he kind of set his own price. He said, I really wouldn't even be interested unless I could get 8.8. And that's exactly what they got.
And he took that money and did a 1031 tax-deferred exchange and bought a $20 million property that he had no more money invested in. And now he's got $300,000 a year in net income after the loan, right?
That's right.
After all the expenses. So he's pretty much set for life.
And did the 1031.
Which means he didn't pay taxes on it. So guys, there's plenty of reasons to join a mastermind, right? You get to meet and associate with people like that. Now we do have a couple of openings for our mastermind, and you got to qualify. It's not like something that
you just want in and that's it.
It's not something you just pay the money and then come on in. We want to make sure it's a good fit and it's somebody that can contribute. So if you're in real estate, if you're already doing real estate full time, and you want to network with other like-minded people, call Kandas, right?
877-LARRY-GO. If you're driving, just 877-LARRY-GO is pretty easy to remember. I was going to say write it down. Don't write it down if you're driving. Just 877-LARRY-GO. Or when you're not driving anymore, you could shoot an email to me, info@bragradio.com. You can text BRAG to 803-897.
6063.
There you go, Chad. Look at him saving me. Thanks. Welcome back, Brag Radio. This is Kandas.
And Larry, what's up?
Investing with real estate to be rich and generous. This is my favorite part of the show. I say that every week that we have a student on, and we have a student on that's going to come on this week. Claire, are you there?
How are you, Claire?
I'm doing great.
Are you having fun and making money?
I am having fun, and I am even making money.
That's awesome. Yeah. So tell our loyal listeners from around the globe.
The 5.
Who is Claire?
Claire is someone who came off a tough divorce and had to rebuild her life and decided, you know what, this is what I want to do. And guess what? I don't have to ask anybody about it.
And is doing a phenomenal job at it, too.
You ain't got to ask nobody nothing. That's great.
And she's having fun.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm loving it. That's great. That is great. Congratulations. So tell us, what are you doing?
Well, right now, immediately, I'm in the middle of a mobile home rehab in an over 55 park, and this baby needed it. It's a 1961. It looked like a dark, dank, sad little cabin.
A
and now
dark,
it's
dank. Dark,
Ready.
dank, and sad. That is definitely a different way to describe it.
But no more. Now it's all better.
But you put some life back into it. 1961. It's 55 years old.
Like the people that are going to live in it.
56. Ish.
Well, exactly. And we're peers, frankly. We're peers. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. So are you doing a lot of work to it?
more than I expected.
That's the way a rehab always works, isn't it? That's normal.
Yeah, it is. It is. But it looks so much better. It's like everything a woman could want. Shopping and a makeover, right?
Wow, that's great. All in one. You don't even have to leave the trailer park.
Right, and at the end, someone hands you money. So it's like it's a trifecta.
So how are you making money on this deal? Tell us the deal. How did you get it? How are you making money on it?
Well, I found it in Craigslist. I've got a friend who does these, and I sat down with him one day, and he explained what he did, and I thought, you know what, that reminds me of a Larry Goins thing. So with this one, what we did was we bought it cheap, and the guy was practically with his car idling, ready to leave. He was so done with this, and he just needed a few $1,000 to buy a trailer. That's all he wanted. So then we borrowed $18,000 from a friend.
You mean as in private money, right?
I do mean private money.
See, we were just talking about this on the last segment. Wow. What kind of interest rate did you pay them?
She's getting 10%. She's getting a very decent interest rate.
10%. There you go.
Good.
For 10 years. And so we were going to sell it subject to. So she's got, the mobile home isn't now, she's the note holder on the mobile home.
Right.
So that allowed us to have a little money to work on the mobile home and cash out a bit. And we're actually decided instead of doing the subject to, we're going to do a wrap with an owner carry and sell it for a little more because it ended up so nice. So we were going to just do subject to that particular loan and we walk away, but it ended up working out better.
Right.
That
right.
wasn't confusing. So
that's good. That is good. So I love it. I love it. That's awesome. And you found this deal on Craigslist. Can you believe it? People say, I can't find a deal. I can't find a deal. That's because you're not looking. Right, Claire?
Yeah. It's consistency. There's always a little luck involved, but you got to look. Yeah, you can't just wait. They won't fall in your lap.
You know what the definition of luck is, right?
What's that?
It's where preparedness meets opportunity.
Right.
So if you don't know how to put a deal together, you never would have been able to put the deal together that you found on Craigslist that was already a deal, right? You wouldn't know how to do it. But you knew what to do and how to do it. That's what set you apart.
Well, it's just a lot of self-education. The Larry Goins course, among others, and REI meetings, and just kind of seeing what other people are doing. And eventually, I was thinking today, as a matter of fact, that it makes so much more sense to me now But that's because I've been in action. If you start moving through the steps, it just becomes clearer.
That's great. You went out and took action. You have our Filthy Riches training, right?
I do.
That's great. That is great. And for those listening, that's a training that we have that shows how to do exactly what Claire just did. Right, Kandas?
That's right. That's right. So, Claire, why don't you talk to us a little bit about how you are giving back or how you're being generous?
Well, it's interesting with this particular project. It's out of the normal area that I work in, so I didn't have a crew. And I ended up finding a crew through a place called Victory Outreach up here, where they're guys who've gone through rehab, sometimes coming out of prison, mainly younger, 20s. Some are skilled, some are semi-skilled, some are not skilled, but they'll do the work, some of the work. I got some more skilled for some, but they were great. They were a great crew. It was really good being able to work with them, and some have no interest in continuing in this field, and a couple are they're really liking it and liking it as a skill, and it's just fun to watch. And it's been a good group of guys.
How long did it take them to complete the rehab? Are they still working on it?
Actually, I was just cleaning brush from the back when you called.
Oh, really?
We're kind of doing the very last things right now, a lot of the detail, last little detail work. So
good.
But it's about a month.
That's not too bad.
More.
That's not too bad at all.
Yeah.
And how many were working on it at one time?
There are always two. They always travel in two, as a kind of accountability thing. But it's anywhere 2 to 4 at any given time.
How can people get involved with this type of an outreach program in their community? What do they Google, or how do they get kind of this same setup that you just had with this for the rehab?
Good question. I'd go to some of the local churches and start asking around, because, usually they're tied into a parish or a church or something. Because I didn't find them. My other contractor, my main, more skilled contractor, found them. And I said, great, sounds like a really good idea.
That's awesome. It's win-win all the way around, right?
Right, exactly.
That is great. That is great.
And this helps pays for their, they live in-house and a halfway house and all this, and it helps pay for that. Everybody wins, yeah.
So you're still looking for some more deals? You got any more deals in the pipeline?
I am looking always, and I was just actually going through some possibilities this morning, yeah, so we'll see.
That is great.
And I have some outstanding notes and things, like from the Filthy Riches, and I just talked to someone today who's probably willing to buy one of those notes, so very exciting.
Good. So you did another deal, and you got a note, you bought it, you sold it at a profit, and now you can sell the note and cash out, and a private passive investor is going to take that note, and they're going to create a passive income. Maybe they're retired, but they don't want to be active. They want to be a passive investor, right?
Exactly. Right.
That is awesome. Claire, we really, really appreciate you being on the show today. You've just been awesome. You've been a big help, and you're being a blessing to others. And we appreciate you being the model of what a bragger is. Be rich and generous and help others at the same time. Thank you so much, Claire. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Larry, and thank you, Kandas. That's going to wrap up today's Brag Radio, leading the world to be rich and generous. For more information about what Larry and Kandas talked about on today's show, or to get a free investor's kit, call 877-LARRY-GO. That's 877-527-7946. You can also go to bragradio.com. Make sure to tune in every Saturday for Brag Radio, leading the world to be rich and generous. Larry and Kandas will show you how to invest in real estate and the many ways real estate creates the ideal investment here on News 1110 99.3 WBT.